Shakur Stevenson versus Artem Harutyunyan. 12 rounds in the 135-pound division for Shakur's WBC lightweight belt. Let's talk through this one. Let's get the records out the way. Stevenson, 21 wins, no losses, 10 wins by way of knockout. Harutyunyan, 12 wins, 1 loss, 7 wins by way of knockout. You know, there are going to be a lot of expectations here for Shakur Stevenson. You know, Shakur's performances against Jamal Herring, Oscar Valdez, Robson Conceição, Yoshino were all, I felt like, great versions of Shakur Stevenson. You know, they were more of an exciting fight. You know, he stopped Herring, dominated Valdez, outboxed and dropped Conceição and stopped Yoshino. He looked great in those fights. You know, Shakur defensively is one of the best fighters of today, especially from a statistical standpoint. You know, he's hard to hit. He does a great job of making people miss, countering, and fighting on his terms, right? He's a very disciplined fighter. He's not going to fight an undisciplined fight. It's just not been the history of Shakur. You know, he's going to do what he needs to do to get the job done and to get the win. And at the end of the day, you know, that's the most important thing, is to be able to come out with the win. In his professional career, you know, he hasn't really been beat up, you know, like that. Not a lot of damage, not a lot of wear and tear. He's just been kind of dominant every single round of his fights so far. Artem Harutyunyan, you know, I think he, you know, when he fought Frank Martin, man, you know, a lot of people were thinking Frank Martin was going to stop him. Harutyunyan is better than I think most people think. Personally, you know, he's an Olympian just like Shakur. Competed at the same Olympic Games, those 2016 games, won a bronze medal in the lightweight division. You know, he fought Batir Akhmadov in the amateurs and beat him. So this is a guy that can fight, you know. At the professional level, Harutyunyan's best level of competition was probably when he faced Frank Martin in his most recent fight. And I thought he gave Frank Martin as much as he could and put forth a good showing of himself. Harutyunyan was pressuring early and he was letting his hands go. Now, all of the shots weren't getting through, but he was taking that risk. He knew he needed to be the aggressor, right? You can't just come down and lay down and not let your hands go, especially when you're the away fighter coming in, especially in a different country. You got to make it apparent that, man, you're coming here to win. We've seen some guys that came into fights and they just wanted to survive. But Harutyunyan seemed like he was getting a little bit more confidence after each and every single round, especially in the early parts of the round. You know, he was going to the body early, you know, landing some good body shots on Martin. And, you know, he was looking to counter him coming in as well, too. And he did land some big, heavy counter punches that scored. But Harutyunyan, he took some big shots of his own when he was countered by Frank, especially to the head. Harutyunyan was going to the body in the 6th round and seemed like, you know, he caught Frank with a nice body shot that backed him up. But the 7th round, man, Frank Martin came back and had him in trouble a few times throughout that fight, especially going to that 12th round where, you know, the last minute of the fight, Harutyunyan took a knee. Now, I didn't really see a shot that looked like he didn't take it well. Maybe he was tired. Maybe he just needed a quick break, you know, to be able to recalibrate himself and regroup. But you know, that knee was probably the thing that lost him the fight, because some of those scorecards were pretty close, man, especially in the early part. You know, a lot of the officials were giving those rounds to Harutyunyan. If he would have stayed on his feet, maybe the cards would have been different. Who knows what the outcome and the result would have been. But so even though he got the loss, man, I thought it was still a pretty good performance that he showed. Shakur Stevenson, on the other hand, you know, he's not coming off the most exciting fight. There's no sugarcoating that. Even he said that. But he also said some other things as well, too. Edwin De Los Santos, man, is a dangerous fighter. You know, he's a guy who punches hard. He's an athletic guy. And he can do some of the similar things that Shakur can do, you know, and Shakur did what he needed to do to get the job done. He fought a disciplined fight. He stayed on the outside, and he made sure he did not engage, you know what I'm saying? And especially when you're fighting a big puncher, you don't want to fight them at their strength. You kind of want to handicap them a little bit and take away their strength. You know, and that's definitely what Shakur Stevenson did. But it's how the fight looked that people were giving Shakur a hard time about. You know, if he would have stayed in the pocket and exchanged a little bit, you know, and showed a little bit of that toughness and grit that we know that he does have. If he got that chin tested, it would have been a different story. But he didn't take that risk. He didn't want to engage. And when you don't want to engage in the prize fighting sport of boxing, people are going to say the fight wasn't exciting. Shakur was an exciting fighter. A lot of people were saying that. Even as we did the post-fight of De Los Santos's fight, there's a lot of people in the comments saying, man, Shakur put us to sleep. Like we didn't even finish watching the fight. So these are all things that Shakur is going to be taking into this fight. These are all things that he's been hearing, and he's been saying, I'm going to put forth a better performance. And these are things that, has a high level of expectation. And it's hard to block out the noise when you've been hearing the same thing over and over again. I don't care how disciplined a person and how strong a person might be mentally. When you hear something over and over and over again, eventually parts of it is going to seep through and it's going to make you think, wait, maybe they might be right. So he's coming into this fight looking to prove a point. There's no doubt he's gunning for the stoppage against Harutyunyan. I believe that's what he believes he needs to do. There's a lot at stake here. Maybe not so much in the ring, but how Shakur is going to perform in its entirety. But I'm looking forward to seeing what he does look like. I think we're going to see the same Shakur with some adjustments in the fight. So who wins? Before I give my pick on this fight, I have something real quick to share. I'm always looking to bring more light, more value, more opportunities for the community. I've been working on a few different things in recent weeks to not just grow the channel, but as I said, to continue to provide as much value as I can to each of you in our community. With that being said, I got some exciting news to share. I'm happy to announce my partnership with BetStamp and Signup Expert. It's a great opportunity for you to join some of the best sports books to get the best odds and new user offer. All you have to do is head over to my dedicated page at signupexpert.com/thebreakdown to explore a selection of sports books tailored to your region, each with its own unique offerings. So if you want to place a bet this weekend and on this fight and beyond, check out the link to find the best options for you in your region. Every sign up does support the channel, and it helps the channel grow and to expand and to create more opportunities, not just for me, but for our community. I'm always looking out for you guys as best as I can. You can easily find the link in the description below this videos moving forward. So get down there and check it out and find the best option for you. Now, let's get back to the video. Yeah, man, I'm with many of you as we wonder, like, what's Shakur going to look like? Is he going to be on the front foot a lot more? Is the style going to be a little bit more aggressive? Is it going to be similar to what he did last time? I don't think Harutyunyan is a bigger puncher than De Los Santos. I think De Los Santos is by far the bigger puncher. I think Shakur is one of the best fighters today, personally. I still think that, even after his most recent performance. But I also know that Shakur is going to fight a Shakur fight. When you think about best defensive fighters, a lot of fighters get compared to Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather, had two different styles. When he was Pretty Boy Floyd was more aggressive, more risk-taking. It was focused, bringing pressure, trying to knock cats out. He was knocking cats out, but there would be some fights when he could have won those fights without taking those shots to the face and winning a little bit more effortlessly. Then when he turned Money Mayweather, it was more of that sweet science, being more defensively responsible, staying disciplined, counter-punching, speed, technique, timing. But Floyd did not care. He didn't care what anybody thought about his style as long as he kept winning. And I think that's what Shakur should do and should continue to do. A lot of people think Shakur needs the knockout. I don't think he needs the knockout, but I still think he needs to dominate. I want to see him on the front foot a little bit more, stay in the pocket a little bit and showcase that inside game like how he did when he fought Jamel Herring. I want to see a little bit more of that, just a little bit more of that aggressive style with his defensive mindset. Maybe a knockdown, that'd be nice as well too. but I don't personally think he needs to knock out Harutyunyan to be able to have a great performance. That's just my opinion. A lot of people that I've spoken to think differently. They think Shakur needs to stop this guy and stop him as soon as possible, but I don't know if that's Shakur's type of style. It's hard to be something you're not. You know, when we know who you are. Shakur is a great fighter, but he's more a defensive fighter than an offensive fighter, and he's going to fight a disciplined fight, and you got to make him fight. If you're a big puncher, you know, there's a good chance he's going to respect that power, and he may not come forward as much. I think Frank Martin is a bigger puncher than Harutyunyan, but I think he's going to respect Harutyunyan a little bit. So we'll see what happens. You know, obviously Shakur Stevenson knockout probably changes things for a lot of people. But if he doesn't get the knockout, but he looks excellent, maybe even gets a shutout and completely looks night and day from when he fought De Los Santos offensively, I think that's going to be a great performance as well, too. So I think Harutyunyan is a tough fighter. He's going to come to fight. I think he's got a pretty good chin, but he can be hurt to the body. Again, I think Frank Martin defensively is easier to hit than Shakur as well, too. So it's going to be tough for Harutyunyan to really find his openings, man. You know, he was having a hard time with Frank Martin, and I think Shakur Stevenson is a more complete fighter than Frank Martin. So I just think Harutyunyan is going to have a tough time being able to really make Shakur Stevenson uncomfortable and impose his will, his size on Shakur. If Shakur goes to the body, that's a target that maybe he could weaken and soften Harutyunyan, and maybe he can stop him that way, you know. So it's going to be an interesting fight, man. I like Shakur Stevenson to win this fight by decision. I'm expecting to see a much better performance than he did against Edmund De Los Santos. Will he get the stoppage? Obviously, we'll see. But I expect Shakur to win this fight by decision. So those are my thoughts. I would love to hear from you. How do you think this fight goes? Who do you have winning this one? Let me know in the comment section below. I don't always get to do all the suggested videos you guys suggest in the comment section below, but if you become a member, those suggested videos rise to the top, and I will do my best to get those done for you that week. Or if you'd like to become a member just to show love and to support the channel, that would be greatly, greatly appreciated. We are almost at 6,000 subscribers on the channel. So if you know someone that likes boxing, share it with them and tell a friend to tell a friend. It would be greatly, greatly appreciated. And your support means more than you know. So with all that being said, if you've been watching the video this long, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, and we'll definitely see you next time.